The purpose of this video is to give you kind of a tangible way of understanding why sometimes relationships go bad, and also ways of better managing your relationship so you can keep it going well. So imagine that you're in a relationship, and I'm kind of struggling with the words that I'm going to use because I really want to be very candid with you. I teach these classes and I'm very candid with the clients that I work with, so I'm just going to be candid with you as well. I hope I'm not offending anybody, but here we go. So imagine that you're in a relationship and there's a moment of argument, and you as a man call your significant other a harsh name. Let's say that you say, "You're acting like a bitch." Pretty harsh. So on a scale from 1 to 10, where do you think she would put this harsh word that you just used? Keeping in mind that 10 is the most intense negative emotion and number 1 is the most insignificant emotion. It's been my experience that most women would probably place that at a 7, perhaps even an 8. We'll go with 7. However, the male who used these words towards his significant other may actually place that at a 4. So let me explain. Your significant other responds upset, maybe teary-eyed, maybe she becomes distant, maybe she becomes cold, maybe she retaliates with words of her own. So you know that she felt pretty intense about what you just said. You, on the other hand, think, you know what? That wasn't that bad. You're not saying that, but you're thinking that. And so you are going to apologize because you do realize you did something wrong, but your apology is that of a 4. You don't say the number out loud, but she can tell that your apology is significantly lower than the emotions that she's feeling based on your words. So you apologize at a 4. And this is when she knows the number that you just gave, your actions. If you look at the difference between the 4 and the 7, there's a 3-point difference. What do you think happens with her 7 after she got your half-assed apology? Does it go down? Does it stay the same, or does it go up? It's been my experience that the number will likely go up. It may go up as high as a 9. Now she's not only upset because of the words that you use, she's also upset that you're not recognizing the damage, how it made her feel. You start using minimizing techniques. You start diverting responsibility. You may even start justifying your words based on her behavior. Now what you have is, you have a spread of 5. The gap between the value you gave it and the value she gave it just increased. Somehow guys think, being a guy I can vouch for this, that at night some magical fairy will come into the bedroom and sprinkle this fairy dust. And even though you both went to bed angry, in the morning, somehow things are much better. Well, you wake up, you lean over and say, "Good morning, honey." You give her a kiss. She may be receptive to the kiss. She went from being angry to hurt, but the pain's not gone. So then what happens? She takes this 5 and she banks it. She banks it. Obviously, you're not recognizing the damage you've caused. She's going to have to accept that you really aren't going to do anything more than what you did last night, which was, "Honey, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to call you that," but you realized you were blank, 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 you were doing this or the other. And so what she now has to do is, she has to bank it. She's not going to leave you, she's not going to divorce you, she's not going to file for separation, so she has to bank it. Enough of these incidents, she keeps banking. Whatever the spread is, whatever happens again, another situation where maybe you breached the relationship. Maybe you overpromised, underdelivered. Some guys are guilty of that. I know I have been. She keeps banking these numbers. The problem with this is that these numbers don't go away. And eventually this turns into resentment. Resentment will eventually ruin a relationship. It obviously will. So here's my suggestion to you. When you do something that obviously is a breach to the relationship, a breach to the friendship, to the intimacy, to the trust, and she gives it a number. Let's go back to that 7. You need to let her give the value to your actions. She is the recipient. Have you ever heard the customer is always right? Of course the customer is always right. What that basically means is the customer determines the value of what they're receiving. Let her determine the value of what you just did or said. She gives it a 7. What do? At this point, you have to acknowledge the value she gave it, and you know what value she gave it based on her response. Candidly speaking, there'll be some women that you can use that same harsh word towards her, and they may give it a lower value, perhaps a 3, perhaps a 4. Maybe that's because she's used to being called that, or it doesn't really think much of that term. Nevertheless, in this case, we're going to go back to the 7. Once you recognize the value that she's giving it, what I need you to do now is give it the same value. How do you do that? Well, if you give it the same value, your apology will be representative of that. You're not going to say, honey, what can I do to make things up? By the way, that's basically saying, what is the least that I have to do to get you to shut up? That's not really going to help you. You want to acknowledge the value that you've done, and you want to apologize to the same level that she has valued it. Or, here's a suggestion. Why not give it a higher value? If you give your actions a higher value than she gave it, your apology will be representative of that. What happens next? Check this out. The moment she realizes that you are apologizing at a higher level than she recognized your breach to be, will this number go up, stay the same, or go down? Well, I'm going to suggest that it's going to go down. It may go down to a 6, it may go down to a 5. Let's take it down to a 5. If you notice, there is a difference of 2. The spread between 5 and 7 is 2. This isn't a mathematical equation. However, I'm using math because it's simple language. The 2 now gets put here. Also banked. But in this case, it's banked as a positive number. I don't know about you, but I always like to be in the positive. My checking account, my relationships. At this point, what you now have is a situation where your significant other not only recognizes that you're human, recognizes that you made a mistake, but also recognizes that you are concerned as to how it affected her. And that is key to sustaining a healthy relationship. Let the recipient determine the value. Give it the same value as the recipient, or higher, better yet, and then sit back and watch what happens. She will lower the value of your breach, and the gap between, the spread between what she gave it originally and what she lowers it to becomes a credit, backed away to further build on in the relationship.